With Season 3 now released, and most of you having watched it, I gotta talk about the future of Cobra Kai. The writers themselves have gone to Twitter over the last year and talked about, mind you briefly, the future of the show. It's very promising and I'm super excited. This video is gonna have a ton of information based on different things. After Season 4, which will come out roughly around this time in 2022, John Hurwitz assumes, he went to say this about Season 5. We have plans beyond that. We haven't had firm discussions with Netflix as to when the series will end, but we have expressed that if on their end there is a period of time where they're like, it's about enough of this Cobra Kai business, to give us a heads up so that we can wrap things up appropriately. I think we're going to have the right amount of runway to get it done in a way that's going to be fulfilling for fans and leave the characters in a place that's a fulfilling close to the story with potential for more stories down the road. Now, he has also mentioned that there are some spin-off stories that they'd like to discuss or venture into. I could definitely see a young Kreese and a young Silver being one of these spin-off shows. Ralph went on to say this about the overall Cobra Kai show and its longevity, at least for now, and mind you, this is from his perspective. The writers have always felt they had 6 seasons in their head, where the story arcs can go, so that should all land when the time is right. You don't want to overstay your welcome, but the fans are having fun and there's more story there. As long as we're allowed to keep doing it, Billy and I are in. This means that Cobra Kai could maybe go on for even more than 6 seasons. Hopefully they don't end up doing karate in space, but hey, you never know. At least we know the stars of the show are on board for more. I think it's definitely true with a lot of shows that they do drag it out way too long, overstaying their welcome. However, with Cobra Kai and with these genius writers as the big 3, John, Josh, and Hayden, I think that they know exactly what they're doing to not spread things too thin and still tell more of a story consistently. That's the beautiful part about Karate Kid, is that there's so many different characters and so many different alleys and routes we can take to explore different characters and different storylines. There's no telling where things could go, and with a powerhouse like Terry Silver coming in, it can really shake things up and make things very bad for our main boys. As for bringing in other characters from the Karate Kid universe, John Hurwitz, the man himself, said this as well. In our writer's room, we speak about literally every character that has appeared in the Miyagi-verse, so it's obvious that we've spoken about Julie Pierce as to whether or not she'll return for the series. That's something you'll have to just wait to find out. Now, Julie Pierce is a lot like Daniel-san. She was a troubled youth, and Miyagi really helped her out. Now, if we see her, could we see Ned as well? I'd love to see Mr. Cavalieri return into the Karate Kid universe. But I think something I'd like to see the most would be a Mike Barnes vs. Johnny Lawrence fight. I don't know why, but I just think it would be really cool to have the main bad guy fight the other main bad guy to see who is the ultimate bad guy. Well, Johnny's not so bad now, but you know what I mean. Which leads me to my next question. How will they bring in Mike Barnes? Could he still be the tyrant that he always was, or has he completely changed his ways? Sean Kanan, in an interview I had with him, mentioned how he thinks it'd be funny if Mike Barnes became an anger management counselor of some sorts. He could learn from his bad attitude and becoming this calm and collected man hopeful to instill that wisdom on others. Then again, Terry Silver could come in and give him an offer that he can't refuse. Let me know what you think about the future of Cobra Kai and how many seasons you want to see without spreading the show too thin, until we start branching off into these spin-off shows, hopefully a young Kreese and Silver, and maybe even a young Miyagi and Sato. Have an awesome rest of your day, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next episode of Cobra Kai Theory. Until then, remember, pain does not exist in this dojo, does it?
I've always speculated more on kind of what became of him.
Right.
What happened to this guy afterwards, and when we met him, he was a 17-year-old kid. Yeah. What became of him as an adult?
What happened
and
after he lost? Yeah, because I'm sure Terry Silver and Kreese were probably pretty pissed that he lost the tournament and all that stuff. Right. So it's like, and it literally shaped Cobra Kai in the Valley. It's like, what do you think, in your own theory, what do you think happened to him?
So I have a couple theories about this. I think one path that he could have taken was he literally became, a worse guy, got in more worse trouble,
yeah.
and quite possibly wound up in prison.
Yeah.
Okay. Another idea that I have, and I kind of like this one a lot more because I think it's a lot less obvious, is I think maybe he got in trouble, and maybe he was given the choice of either, going to prison or going into the military.
Okay.
And he went in, and it straightened him out, and he became actually an honorable, good guy, or a better man. And probably went off and fought in some of the wars in you know Baghdad, Afghanistan, etc. And got himself pretty straightened out.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that would be interesting is because, if you remember, there's the dialogue between Terry Silver and Mr. Miyagi, where they're talking about how they were both soldiers.
Right.
And Terry Silver says something to the effect of, John wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
And he says war does that to a man, and he says you would have had to been there. And then Mr. Miyagi replies, have been, do know. So I think it'd be interesting that in that sense, Mike would be the other side of the coin of kind of the same experience that John Kreese went through. And I think it'd be interesting if he came back and he wasn't a bad guy, and his beef wasn't with Johnny Lawrence, but it was with and it wasn't even with Daniel LaRusso, but it was with Kreese.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. And then, just for comedic value,
cool.
I think it's funny. Like he wound up going to an ashram, and he's like, Mr. Beads and puka shells.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
Peace, love, and understanding.
Yeah, right. He's like just totally flipped the script.
The reason I think that's funny is, the guys, Josh Held and Hayden and all the guys that John Hurts, they've got such great comedic sensibilities. They did Harold and Kumar, of course, and I could also see them creating something like that, it being really funny.
And then Mike would maybe snap out of it and be like, "What the hell?" And he sees Kreese, and it's like all of a sudden, just boom, switches.
Right.
Yeah, because that's true. It's like he's probably I don't know if he was a good kid, but like he might have just had some bad influences, and then Kreese and Silver definitely weren't the best influences to have.
Right, and also if you look at how Silver took Daniel under his wing, and initially was pretending to be his mentor.
Right.
Every reason to believe that, Terry Silver, who was an adult and a wealthy and powerful guy, was probably playing, all sorts of manipulative mind games with Mike too, albeit in a different, with a different delivery.
Oh yeah, big time. I wonder if they're gonna put Thomas Ian Griffith in there in Cobra Kai. That'd be pretty fun. What was
the only thing I've communicated, not frequently, but from time to time with the producers of the show, and these guys are they're real fans of the whole Karate Kid universe, and I know they have said they'd like to have everybody from the original films, that's the canon material, involved in Cobra Kai. I think they just want to do it in a way that is organic and serves the show. So you never know.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Do you still keep in touch with Mr. Silver?
So I